Welcome to Connected Leadership. I'm your host, Kimberly Dinville, the founder of Comet Leadership Development. My passion is helping others to develop their own leadership style and skills. Whether it's through one-on-one mentoring, writing, or speaking to groups of people, I love to discuss topics related to leadership and people management. We believe that anyone can be a leader, whether you're a people manager or not. We want to help you build the skills that help you connect and motivate people so they can reach their full potential. Thank you for joining us today, and let's dive in. Hello and good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone, depending on where you are in the world and what time you're listening to this episode. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, letting go of perfectionism. This is an item that I end up talking with a lot of people about, and there are a few of my former staff members who are probably tired of hearing my thoughts on the subject. If there is one word that I could eliminate from my team's vocabulary, it would be perfect. Or rather, the phrase, I'm a perfectionist. I tell people that we have to let go of perfect. This isn't to say that we shouldn't try to do better. We absolutely should. Find something every day that you can do just a little bit better than the day before. It can be the same thing every day, it can be a different thing, it can be work-related, or it can be personal. But don't fall into the trap of feeling that things must be perfect. Very often you will find that you get focused on improving one thing and something else slides in the process. That's what it means to be human. There's a finite number of hours available to us, and we cannot be everywhere all the time with maximum focus on all the things. I wasn't always this way. The word perfect didn't always create a knee-jerk reaction in me. In fact, I was also a perfectionist, and in some things, I'm still a recovering perfectionist. I would continue to pick at something that wasn't, at least to me, good enough in the pursuit of trying to bring it near perfection. I would lose hours in improving spreadsheets, finding just the right words in an email or a presentation, or I would tear myself apart because things were not how I wanted them to be. Like many things, my current view of perfect is something that developed over time. Originally, it was watching the pursuit of perfection cause undue stress and undermine the progress that had been made by my team. They had made something amazing in a short amount of time, but they were exhausting themselves because they were self-proclaimed perfectionists. This caused me to reflect on the word and how people use it to describe themselves and the tasks they set out to perform. When I think of perfect, I think of something with no faults. It's complete. It has no further room for improvement. And putting aside a series of philosophical questions, like how does perception play into perfect? Is what I call perfect what you would call perfect? Can we be perfect in spite of or because of our faults? When you put all of that aside, when someone talks to me about being perfect, I think of someone who has no more room to grow because there are no more faults to fix. You are at the end of your journey, and I don't want people to be at the end of their journeys. Which is why, as a leader, I don't want them to say that there is nothing left to learn or there's nothing left to improve. This is why I go back to the idea and why I frequently tell people, find something every day to do just a little bit better. Beyond my grumbles about stagnation and not learning, there's another aspect of perfectionism that bothers me as a leader. More often than not, the people who tell me they are, quote, perfectionists don't actually view themselves as perfect. Strangely, the people who view themselves as perfect almost never use the word perfectionist. There are a lot of other words that they will use, but they don't usually say, I am a perfectionist. That's not the point of this discussion. The people who say they are perfectionists end up beating themselves up or being very demanding of themselves and the others around them in this pursuit of perfection. They become blinded and they start to become very negative because they are not perfect, even though this is what it means to be human. People get lost in the I should have, I could have, oh, if only, in this pursuit of perfection. The old saying goes, hindsight is 20/20, and you can't change the past. You need to learn from it and recognize that the past has made you who you are today. And you're likely a pretty awesome person. A great random comment I heard from a former HR leader was, stop shoulding yourself. Stop beating yourself up for what might have been in the past or what you should be doing in the future. Every person I have come across in my own life has succumbed to these should've, could've, if only thoughts, myself included. However, when you tell yourself that you're a perfectionist, I feel that you start to mentally set yourself up to look for the places where you fall short, at least in your own opinion. I'll be the first to tell you that letting go of perfect is not an overnight change. For all that I lecture to people about it, I still fight with it myself. But this is where I feel leaders can help make a difference. Whenever I start to see one of my team members fall into that trap of perfect, I take the time to discuss it with them. Because I am the leader, because I am removed, I have an extra benefit of perception and perspective and viewpoint. I'm not neck deep in the problem. I'm not the one who's been spending 100 hours working on that project. As a leader, you can help your teams with perspective. The perfectionist keeps looking at the different problems that is keeping their thing from being flawless, whatever that thing is. You have the ability to say, yeah, but look at how much you've done. Or you're being really hard on yourself for something that is really good. Being that step removed allows us to sidestep emotional attachment, at least hopefully, and then we can evaluate what is really needed, whether it's actually a fault or a problem, or is it something nice to have, something that's just an area of refinement, polishing and tweaking. As a leader, you may have to help your team see when something is good enough to move on. As I experienced with the team that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, there comes a point when the pursuit of perfection leads to diminishing returns. It leads to stress and fatigue and burnout. You have to ask and coach your teams to ask, how much of that remaining work is fundamental to completion, or is it just polishing and refining? Is the continued effort worth it? Or are you, they, creating stress, worrying over the better when you've already surpassed good enough? I've personally been known to kick people out of the office, make them go home for the night, because their drive for better was compromising their mental state. There is such a thing as over-preparation. It's that point where you have poured so much of yourself into something that the extra hour you devote leads to exhaustion instead of improvement. So as a leader, learn to let go. Help your teams let go. Help your staff learn to move away from the pursuit of perfection. Look for the better. Strive to improve a little bit each day, but don't fall into the trap of viewing perfect as the only acceptable outcome. That's all for this episode. Thank you for joining in and listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you can be alerted when the next episode comes out. If you want to get more detail on today's topic, or you want to check out our other material, please visit us at cometleadership.com. You'll find a series of articles, templates, and training material. You can also email me directly at kimberly@cometleadership.com. Thanks for listening and have a fantastic day.